In 2023, China surpassed the United States Navy in total ship count for the first time in modern history. 350 warships, destroyers, frigates, corvettes, amphibious assault ships, aircraft carriers, all commissioned within 2 decades. The Pacific Fleet, once unchallenged, now faced numerical disadvantage. Lawmakers demanded answers. Analysts warned a strategic collapse. Regional allies questioned American commitment. The question was unavoidable. How do you stop a navy that outnumbers you 2-to-1? The answer was already deployed, silent, submerged, invisible. Not a surface fleet designed to match China's ship for ship. Not a carrier group built for traditional dominance. A single Virginia-class submarine, upgraded with capability that changed the entire equation. 56 missile tubes, unlimited endurance, perfect stealth, and China's surface fleet became a liability, not an advantage. For 70 years, American naval dominance rested on carrier strike groups, 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, each escorted by guided missile cruisers, destroyers, and supply ships. These floating air bases projected power globally, controlled sea lanes, and deterred adversaries through visible presence. The model worked because no rival could match it. The Soviet Union tried and failed. Russia's navy declined after the Cold War. No other nation possessed the industrial capacity, technological expertise, or financial resources to challenge American supremacy at sea. China changed that calculation. Beginning in the early 2000s, Beijing launched a naval expansion unprecedented in scale and speed. Shipyards in Shanghai, Dalian, and Guangzhou operated continuously. New destroyers entered service annually. Frigates were mass-produced. Amphibious assault ships rolled out in pairs. By 2020, China operated the largest navy in the world by hull count. By 2023, that fleet exceeded 350 ships. The growth was deliberate. China's strategy centered on controlling the first island chain, the line of territories from Japan through Taiwan to Philippines. Dominance within the zone would secure access to the Pacific, enable power projection across Asia, and establish China as the regional hegemon. Taiwan was the focal point, an island 100 miles from mainland China, defended by limited forces and critical to Beijing's vision of reunification. Taking Taiwan required naval superiority, not just in capability, but in visible, overwhelming force. China built accordingly. Type 055 cruisers displaced 13,000 tons and carried 112 vertical launch cells. Type 052D destroyers provided air defense and anti-ship firepower. Type 054A frigates operated in coordinated groups. Amphibious ships prepared for large-scale landings. The United States responded with modernization, not expansion. The Navy remained at roughly 290 ships, fewer than China, and declining as older vessels retired faster than new ones entered service. Critics argue the gap was catastrophic. If conflict erupted over Taiwan, China could deploy hundreds of ships simultaneously. The U.S. would be outnumbered in its own theater of operations. But the criticism assumed naval power was measured by counting hulls above the waterline. Beneath the surface, a different calculation applied. And in that domain, quantity meant nothing. From Beijing's perspective, naval superiority was a numbers game. The more ships deployed, the more sea lanes controlled, the more destroyers in formation, the greater the air defense umbrella, the more amphibious vessels loaded, the faster an invasion force could land. China's strategy relied on saturation. Launch enough ships, and a defender cannot engage all of them. Spread forces across multiple axes, and the enemy must divide attention, maintain numerical advantage, and attrition favors the attacker. The logic was sound. The United States could not be everywhere simultaneously. Carrier strike groups operate as concentrated power, devastating when present, absent when deployed elsewhere. If China launched operations across the Taiwan Strait, the South China Sea, and the East China Sea simultaneously, American forces would face impossible choices. Defend Taiwan and the Philippines are exposed. Protect sea lanes near Japan, and resupply routes to Guam are vulnerable. Engage the surface fleet, and submarines strike from below. China trained accordingly. Naval exercises simulated multi-domain operations. Destroyers practiced coordinated missile salvos. Amphibious groups rehearsed rapid landings. The message was clear. Beijing could generate more combat power in more places than the U.S. Navy could counter. Western analysts amplified the concern. Reports emphasized the shipbuilding gap. China launched vessels faster than America, could replace aging platforms, Projections suggested the disparity would widen, not close. The perception-shaped policy debates call for accelerated shipbuilding gain traction. Proposals to expand the fleet to 355, then 500 ships circulated in Congress. The assumption was constant. America needed more ships to compete, but the assumption missed a critical variable. Surface fleets are visible. Their movements are tracked by satellites, monitored by reconnaissance aircraft, and predictable based on logistics. Every destroyer, every carrier, every amphibious group operates in the open. Submarines do not, and invisibility changes every calculation. The Virginia-class attack submarine represents the opposite of China's surface fleet philosophy. Not numerous, not visible, not designed to control territory. Built to hunt, each Virginia-class boat displaces 7,800 tons submerged. It is powered by a nuclear reactor that generates electricity without refueling for 33 years. It requires no surface support, no fuel convoys, no logistical tether. It operates independently for months, submerged continuously, moving silently through contested waters. Stealth is total. The hull is coated in anechoic tiles that absorb sonar waves. Machinery is mounted on isolation systems to eliminate vibration. The propeller design minimizes cavitation. At slow speeds, a Virginia-class submarine is nearly undetectable, quieter than the ambient noise of the ocean itself. Armament includes torpedo tubes and 12 vertical launch cells for Tomahawk cruise missiles. The missiles have a range of 1,000 miles, strike with precision, and can target ships, air bases, or command centers. Effective, but limited in magazine depth. Then came Block V. The Virginia-class Block V variant introduced the Virginia Payload Module, a 84-foot hull extension, inserted midship. This section contains 4 additional vertical launch tubes, each holding 7 missiles, 28 additional Tomahawks per tube, 40 total vertical launch cells. The math is immediate. A single Block V submarine carries more cruise missiles than most surface destroyers. It operates alone, unsupported, undetected. It can strike an entire invasion fleet, suppress air defenses across a theater, or eliminate command nodes before the enemy realizes they are under attack. Cost per submarine, $3.2 billion. China's Type 055 cruiser costs approximately $900 million. A Virginia-class submarine, with 40 missiles and unlimited endurance, can engage and neutralize multiple surface combatants, each costing nearly $1 billion, without ever being targeted in return. The cost asymmetry favors a submarine. The tactical asymmetry is even greater, because a surface fleet, no matter how large, cannot defend against what it cannot see. The transformation of the Virginia-class into a strike platform fundamentally altered the balance of naval power in the Pacific. China's surface fleet, while numerically superior, operates under constraints submarines do not face. Every destroyer requires fuel. Every carrier needs escorts. Every amphibious group depends on supply lines. Surface ships are visible to satellites, trackable by reconnaissance, and vulnerable to coordinated strikes. Submarines face none of these limitations. A Virginia-class boat can deploy from Pearl Harbor, transit submerged to the South China Sea, and remain on station for 90 days without resurfacing. It does not emit detectable signatures. It does not follow predictable routes. It does not require replenishment. It simply waits. And when the target presents itself, an invasion fleet assembling near Taiwan, a carrier group transiting the Miyako Strait, a destroyer squadron enforcing a blockade, the submarine strikes. 40 Tomahawk missiles launch in sequence. Each missile flies low, hugging the ocean surface to avoid radar detection. Each targets a different ship: destroyer bridges, carrier flight decks, amphibious well decks. The first indication of attack is impact. No warning, no time to react, no opportunity for defense. By the time the fleet realizes it is under attack, half the ships are mission killed. Radar arrays are destroyed. Flight decks are cratered. Command centers are offline. The submarine, having fired, dives deep into parts undetected. The fleet cannot retaliate. It does not know where the submarine is. Sonar searches are ineffective. Anti-submarine helicopters lack search areas. Surface ships, now damaged and vulnerable, must withdraw or risk further strikes. This scenario is not theoretical. The U.S. Navy practices it repeatedly. Submarines operate in contested waters near China's coast, undetected, collecting intelligence and simulating strikes. Chinese forces know American submarines are present. They cannot find them. The Virginia-class fleet currently numbers 21 boats. 10 more are under construction. Block V variants are entering service now. By 2030, the fleet will include over 30 submarines, many equipped with the Virginia Payload Module. Each submarine represents a mobile, invisible strike platform capable of paralyzing a surface action group. China's 350-ship navy, concentrated near Taiwan during an invasion, becomes a target-rich environment. Submarines do not need to sink every ship. They need only to disable enough to disrupt operations, damage amphibious vessels so troops cannot land, destroy air defense destroyers so airstrikes penetrate, eliminate supply ships so the fleet cannot sustain operations. The result is strategic paralysis. China can mass ships, but massing creates vulnerability. Concentrating forces in the Taiwan Strait puts every vessel within range of multiple submarines. Dispersing forces reduces coordination and effectiveness. The surface fleet, designed for dominance, becomes a liability. This is the concept of distributed lethality. Instead of concentrating power in a few large platforms, the U.S. spreads offensive capability across many small, hidden assets. Each submarine operates independently. Each can strike decisively. Together, they create an environment where every Chinese ship is under threat, all the time, from an enemy it cannot see or counter. China built a navy to project power. The United States built a submarine force to deny that power. And denial in naval warfare is dominance, because a fleet that cannot operate safely cannot achieve its mission. And a 350-ship navy that stays in port is strategically useless. China recognizes a submarine threat. Anti-submarine warfare has become a priority. The People's Liberation Army Navy expanded its fleet of Type 056 corvettes, small, inexpensive platforms designed for coastal patrol and submarine detection. Sonobuoy networks were deployed across critical sea lanes. Underwater surveillance systems were installed near strategic choke points. Progress has been limited. Detecting modern nuclear submarines requires expertise developed over decades. The United States has refined anti-submarine warfare since World War II. China is attempting to compress that learning curve into years. Equipment helps. Experience cannot be rushed. Chinese submarines, by comparison, remain detectable. Diesel-electric boats are quieter than older Soviet designs, but still noisier than American nuclear submarines. China's nuclear attack submarines, the Type 093 class, are louder still. U.S. Navy attack submarines track them routinely. The gap in undersea warfare favors the United States significantly. China's counter-response extends beyond anti-submarine warfare. Long-range anti-ship ballistic missiles, DF-21D and DF-26, are designed to strike carriers at distances exceeding 1,000 miles. If carriers cannot operate safely near Taiwan, submarines become the primary strike platform. But missiles require targeting data. Satellites provide tracking, but submarines can hide beneath thermal layers where satellite infrared sensors lose effectiveness. China also accelerated submarine production. Newer variants, including the Type 095, incorporate quieting technologies and improve sonar. But building quieter submarines is only part of the challenge. Operating them effectively requires trained crews, realistic exercises, and operational experience. The U.S. Navy has accumulated 70 years of nuclear submarine operations. China is in its second decade. Meanwhile, the United States continues expanding its undersea advantage. The Columbia-class ballistic missile submarine, designed to replace the Ohio-class, will be even quieter and more capable. The next-generation SSN-X attack submarine is in early development, incorporating automation, extended endurance, and enhanced stealth. The submarine gap is not closing. It is widening. China's surface fleet will continue growing. More destroyers will launch. More carriers will enter service. The numerical advantage will persist. But numbers above the waterline matter, less when dominance below the waterline is uncontested. And as long as American submarines operate freely in Chinese waters, Beijing's fleet remains constrained, vulnerable, and strategically limited. The Virginia-class submarine represents a shift in how naval power is measured. For centuries, fleets were counted by visible ships, battleships, carriers, cruisers. The force that appeared largest was assumed strongest. That assumption no longer holds. Modern naval dominance is determined by what cannot be seen. Submarines operate beyond observation, beyond tracking, beyond retaliation. They impose costs without exposing themselves. They deny access without occupying space. They project power silently. China's 350-ship navy is real. Its capabilities are significant. Its presence is visible across the Pacific. But visibility is vulnerability. Every surface ship is a target. Every formation is trackable. Every movement is predictable. Submarines are none of these things. And as long as the United States maintains its undersea advantage, quieter boats, better training, deeper operational experience, China's surface fleet remains constrained. The future of the Pacific will not be decided by how many ships each side deploys. It will be decided by which side controls a domain that cannot be seen. Right now, that advantage belongs to the United States. And as long as it does, China's numerical superiority is strategically meaningless, because a navy that cannot operate freely is not a navy at all. It is a fleet waiting to be sunk. If you want to understand how invisible power decides visible conflicts, subscribe. More stories like this are coming. The math is invisible, but it is everything.